Okay, if you'll title your notes body paragraphs, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to first talk about the body paragraphs, kind of in generally, talk about what they are, what they include, and then we'll get into the specifics. So, in your essay, you need to have 2 body paragraphs, and each with a focus. Each has a main point. Like we talked about in class on Wednesday, the first body paragraph is going to respond to the part of the question that refers to the book. And remember, we talked about that's going to be the main topic that you mention in your blueprint. Your second body paragraph is going to respond to the other part of the question that asks about your own opinion or your own experience, the in your life part. So each body paragraph includes 5 parts. The first part is the topic sentence, which basically sums up what that paragraph is going to be about. You have some additional background information and transitions. You have details and quotations and an explanation of the quotations, which, like you read in your book, that's the support part. And then you have a conclusion or a transition sentence, which your book called the clincher. So let's look at each of those 5 parts, and we'll look at the sample essay, so make sure you have that in front of you. The topic sentence is always the first sentence in the body paragraph, no matter what, and it has 2 parts. First is going to be a transition word or phrase to move you from the intro paragraph into the body paragraph, and remember that you have the transition handout for help. And then a naming of the topic of the paragraph, which you're going to take directly from the blueprint. So if you look at your sample sentence, remember the thesis statement. In Rick Riordan's fantasy novel, The Lightning Thief, Percy lives up to the role of an epic Greek hero in that he demonstrates cunning intelligence. So we know that the first body paragraph is going to be about cunning intelligence. So let's look at the first topic sentence. In the book, notice the transition, Percy demonstrates cunning intelligence, a characteristic valued by the ancient Greeks just as much as strength and power. It uses the same language in demonstrates cunning intelligence as the thesis statement. So we know that this connects, and we know that this whole paragraph is going to be about how Percy demonstrates cunning intelligence, times when Percy demonstrated cunning intelligence. Next, we have some additional background information and transitions. By itself, most of the time, an example doesn't make sense unless you explain it. Kind of like you can't tell only the punchline of a joke because we won't get the punchline because you didn't give us that background information. Just like you did in the introduction where you summed up the basic plot of the book in 2 or 3 sentences, you need to introduce the specific situation that you're talking about in the body paragraph in 1 or 2 sentences, and use transition words and phrases to help you move through the paragraph. So if we look at the sample essay, Percy Jackson, a middle school student in modern-day America, at first does not appear to be the most intelligent student. He has difficulty reading, does not do well in school, and believes his ADHD keeps him from succeeding. Notice that this is a little more specific than the background information that we're given in the intro paragraph. This is more specific to Percy, more specific to what we're going to be talking about. So like I said with the intro paragraph, you don't want to go on and on. You want to keep it to a few sentences. The same with this. You want to keep this to just a few sentences at most. Next, we have the supporting details and the quotations. Basically, those are the pieces of evidence that prove what you said in the topic sentence is correct. This tells the how or the why of the topic sentence. And your first body paragraph has to have 2 different supporting details, each with a quotation. So your first body paragraph is going to have 2 quotations in it total. Because remember, the first body paragraph is talking about the book. So for example, if you're answering the question about names having power, maybe your first body paragraph will talk about how Zeus's name has power and explain that and give a quotation, and then how Hades' name has power, explain that and give a quotation. So you're talking about the same main topic, names having power, but you're giving 2 instances of that. So looking at our sample essay, the topic sentence in the book, Percy demonstrates cunning intelligence, a characteristic valued by the ancient Greeks just as much as strength and power. For our supporting details and our quotations, we have to think about in what ways Percy does that. So how does he exhibit cunning intelligence? Give me some specific examples from the book when he does that, and then include quotations to help prove your point. So here it says, however, notice the transition, he displays intelligence while on his quest when he realizes that the Lotus Casino was a trap designed to permanently distract him and his companions from their goal. While the Lotus Casino offers everything a young person might desire, from every kind of game imaginable to any kind of food on command, Percy alone sees the deception and tells himself that unless he leaves quickly, I will stay here, happy forever, playing games forever, and soon I'd forget my mom and my quest and maybe my own name. I'd be playing Virtual Rifleman with Groovy Disco Darren forever. So this tells one specific instance in the book when Percy demonstrates cunning intelligence, and I back it up with a quotation. The explanation of the quotation is probably going to be the most important part, because this is the part where you can really prove to me that you can analyze and that you understand the book. So after every quotation, you have to explain it in a few sentences. If the job of the detail in the quotation is to prove that what you said in your thesis and what you said in your topic sentence is correct, the job of the explanation is to prove how that quotation proves what you said in your thesis and in your topic sentence is correct. It's the how. So in our essay, while Percy's grades in school did not show his intelligence, he has a clever ability to see people and situations more clearly than his friends do, and it saves them in their quest. This answers the question how this specific instance demonstrates Percy's cunning intelligence. We learn from the explanation that it's his clever ability to see people, it's his cunning intelligence that saves them in their quest. That's how we know he demonstrates cunning intelligence. What I want to say about this is notice that this is only one sentence. Your explanation at minimum should be 3 sentences. Basically, the more you can give me, the more detail you can get into in your explanation, the more specific you can be, the better. I don't want you to ramble on and on and on just to write 3 sentences, but I want you to have 3 clear, concise sentences that really analyze the quotation and prove why the quotation proves what you said in your thesis is right. Finally, you have your concluding sentence or your clincher sentence, a sentence that sums everything up. And I want you just to be careful because in the essay, notice that there's still more to the body paragraph because you have to have 2 separate supporting details in your first body paragraph. We're going to talk about the concluding sentence right now because we're going to actually talk about the second part of the body paragraph in class tomorrow. But the concluding sentence or the clincher sentence goes at the very end. So while I'm talking about it in terms of the end of the first supporting detail here, just keep in mind that it goes at the end of the paragraph itself. So your concluding sentence summarizes the information that's been presented in that particular paragraph. And it's going to be very similar to, but not exactly the same as the topic sentence. Because remember, the job of the topic sentence is to sum up the paragraph, and that's the job of the concluding sentence or the clincher sentence. So here I've given you the topic sentence of the first body paragraph and then the concluding sentence, and I want you to look at the similarities in them. In the book, Percy demonstrates cunning intelligence, a characteristic valued by the ancient Greeks just as much as strength and power. In his display of cunning intelligence while on his quest and during battle, Percy lives up to the role of an epic Greek hero. Notice that they say the same thing, but notice that it's said in a slightly different way. And that's basically body paragraph. So what I'd like you to do now is I want you to have your sample essay in front of you, and I want you to go through and I want you to label the parts of the first body paragraph. And remember, this is only the first half of the body paragraph. We're going to talk about the other half tomorrow in class. So in the book, Percy demonstrates cunning intelligence, a characteristic valued by the ancient Greeks just as much as strength and power. There's your topic sentence. And you might want to circle the demonstrates cunning intelligence and draw a line up to the blueprint in the thesis just so you have that visual connection. Percy Jackson, a middle school student in modern-day America, at first does not appear to be the most intelligent student. He has difficulty reading, does not do well in school, and believes his ADHD keeps him from succeeding. Highlight that, circle that, label that background information. Again, just a little more specific than what we're given in the intro paragraph, getting more specific to the particular instance that we're talking about in the paragraph. However, he displays intelligence while on his quest when he realizes that the Lotus Casino is a trap designed to permanently distract him and his companions from their goal. While the Lotus Casino offers everything a young person might desire, from every kind of game imaginable to any kind of food on command, Percy alone sees the deception and tells himself that unless he leaves quickly, I will stay here, happy forever, playing games forever, and soon I'd forget my mom, and my quest, and maybe my own name. I'd be playing Virtual Rifleman with Groovy Disco Darren forever. There's your support and your quotation. Then we move into the explanation. Remember of how the quotation proves what you said in your thesis and what you said in your topic sentence is correct. While Percy's grades in school did not show his intelligence, he has a clever ability to see people and situations more clearly than his friends do, and it saves them in their quest. Your concluding sentence at the very end, in his display of cunning intelligence while on his quest and during battle, Percy lives up to the role of an epic Greek hero.